roast is out of the, it's not out. The roast got finished in the Instapot, and I have turned it off so now that it can set and naturally release the steam. But while we're doing that, I thought I'd get the big skillet out, because we're going to do those fried vegetables. Okra, squash, potatoes. So I need a lot of grease for this. This I'm using a vegetable oil because first of all, it would take too much olive oil. It would be too expensive. Second of all, it wouldn't have the flavor I'm looking for this one meal. We don't do it very often, but today we're going to. And now I'll get one of my crock bowls. And then I'll get my, I'll set that there. I'll get my other crock bowl. Scoot it back so that we can do what we're going to do. I've washed the vegetables. So now I'll show you how I'm going to do this. I gave them a little bath, a little baby bath. Got them all washed and clean. I bathe my vegetables in baking soda, which I do, and then they're fresh and clean. I bathe my potatoes. Now, if I was going to do just fried squash, of course I would cut it long ways, which is always good. But today, I'm going to fry it together with my little potatoes and all that stuff. So let me get this kind of going. I'm going to turn that grease down. It's already hot. You have to be careful with cast iron skillets. They will burn stuff very quick and they get hot very, very fast. So you just have to watch your food or you'll burn it real quick. I keep my onion skins, I wet them with water so that all that stuff don't go all over the kitchen, all over the place. So if I wet my onion skins, then it doesn't go everywhere. Okay, we're going to chop that. We'll do it in a little larger than normal hunks. Some days I don't see as well, so I have to be careful with the knife. Even though I've had my cataracts fixed, they're still healing. I put that in my big bowl. Put these in my big bowl. I probably won't do that whole onion. Might save some to eat raw for another day. Because that's a good by day sweet onion. You don't just waste those. When you can find them, get you some. Okay, we've got the onion. Let me move this. I'll put this in the ice box. And I'm just going to cake these. Cut them down the middle. And I may not use all three of those. use all three of those. I think probably I'm going to cut those in real smaller. Just at least half. At least half. Because when you've got all this, it would be different if I was boiling squash. I would cut them up probably the one way, but when I'm frying them, and you've got a lot of extra vegetables that you don't just have one vegetable, I try to get them smaller so that they fry even and it won't take up too much room in the pan. So we've got that, see. Well, that's enough for about 2 people. So we might do one more squash. I'll be back. Okay, I decided I'd just go ahead and cut the squash, and since it's squash and onions, I would go ahead and cut these, and I would have them, because it's the same thing instead of frying or boiling. It'd be the same initial preparation. And I've got enough to fry, but I did, after I'd cut the ends off of this, I did not want to, let me get a bowl. I did not want to let that waste. Remember, we don't waste nothing. So, what we can do is put these for till tomorrow or the next day. This would make a good, one thing I do is I make fried squash with potatoes and onions, and then I'll make the boiled squash with onions. So I can just lay our onion here, and this could be our boiled squash. You just put it in with water and a little rosemary and stuff. But we could use that. Now we've already got, I see one I didn't cut. We've got this done now. I will get the potatoes, and know me, I have to keep everything cleaned up. I don't have nobody to clean for me, so it's easier if I do it as I go. Okay, I'll be back. I've set the potatoes out. Now I'll take each potato and just cut them in lengthwise. Put them in my bowl. I love these little gold potatoes. I don't know if in the video you can see, but they look golden. They are. If I had little kids, I would bake them some little baby potatoes and put them on a little baby plate. My nephew that I helped raise before he passed, got killed in a car wreck with his girlfriend. He was just like my own child a few years ago when he was little. And he would come to my house. I had found a little Western kind of ceramic tea set. Well, it had little dishes. Of course, he didn't play with play with them, but I would serve him a little hamburger, about like that, with a little piece of meat, and I took a little like these and cut little French fries. He thought that was so funny, but he enjoyed it, and that's all that mattered. Yeah, I miss him every day terribly. That's just another part of my life that I don't talk about. Okay, now we've got this all. Look at all this. Now you know what we need? Gotta have okra, don't we? Let me get that. I've kept that in the freezer. I mean not the freezer, the ice box. So let me get that. Okay. Open one package. It's still kind of froze from when I went to Walmart this morning. I'm going to rinse this all off and then I'll get back. I will say that okra, it's not uncommon for it to have bad places in it, but you just have to check to make sure there's not dark places. See, that's another one. Even after I'd washed it, I always go through and look at it very well. And then I mix it in so that okra, gelatinous, whatever's in the okra, gets onto my other vegetables. I guess y'all can tell I'm tired. Yeah, I am today. I'm not as energetic. It's a chore keeping the house running and make sure everybody's got their mother's got her medicine and bath, and you know, wouldn't have it any other way though. It's just by the time the weekend gets here, it starts all over again. That's okay. Be the same if I had a house full of kids. Thank gosh I don't. Not that I don't love them. I don't think I'd be able to do it. I really do not. Okay, I'm going to set this to the side and I'll be right back. Okay, in my bowl I'm just going to put about a half for that. Probably about a half a cup of cornmeal. And I'm going to put about half a teaspoon of my Clever Girl baking powder. About a half a teaspoon. Okay. Then I'll use my panko breadcrumbs. I could do it with just this, but I've got these and I need to use them up. We'll see how they do. Let's see how they do. About, I'd say a cup of that. Now you have to do this, you know, and use your little spider thing. You have to mix that up good. I'm not going to put any more salt on it right now because I want to get my grease back up pretty high. I'll tell you what I better do. Better get my big Pampered Chef bread bowl and put this in that. Since I want to coat a little more. Let me get an egg. We'll go ahead and put one egg. We'll go ahead and put one egg. Into the bowl, our bowl. Give a little bit of milk. That'll give it a little, about a half cup of milk. Now I probably won't list this recipe. You're just going to have to watch the video. I'm too exhausted today. So I'm going to put my milk in my, let me get my little Temu thing that my sister got me. Handy, handy, handy. I love this. I love it. It's a whirl whisk. I use that when I make scrambled eggs every morning. Because it just whisks that up and you just push it and it whisks it up. Now something I'll show you. Forgot that I do have. And it makes sense. I wanted really 2 eggs, but we're going to use the liquid egg whites. I was thinking I didn't have none, but I usually use those. And that frosts that up pretty good. Okay. Turn that grease down. It's too hot. Okay, I'm going to take this. Let's see if I can get it over here. Take this, and you can see I'm just pouring this into my vegetables. My vegetable bowl. Let me move that. And I'll just take that around. Coat that real good. So you can use the 1 egg, or you can use egg whites, or you can use both. You can use a half a cup of cornmeal, about a cup of panko breadcrumbs, a teaspoon of baking powder. Now if you have all-purpose flour, then it'll have your baking powder and stuff in it. Alright. So now, I'm going to set that kind of to the side. And I'll just get that off, and I just kind of put that in there. About sometimes I use a brown paper sack, which is fine too. You can do it however you want to do it. Okay, those are pretty good. Shake that excess off. You want it pretty well shook off. And that little spider will let that go through. Now as you put this in here, this grease will go down in temperature. So you just can't put it all in there at once, or you'll it'll become a mess. It'll become a big mess. So that's about all I'm putting in there right now. That's that fry. It'll give me a different kind of little wooden spoon. So like, well, I didn't mean to flick it out, but that's what I was going to say, to kind of flick it. You just want to kind of flick those. You want to get all that. You want to let that cook even now. Let me get this mess cleaned up. Oh, that's frying. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, now I can kind of move this over. Now, it's not done. That's not where I'm going to tell you. But I can move that over, and I can go ahead and put the rest of this batch in there. You just don't want to gob it all in there because it will get it won't get crispy, and it'll just sit there, and all the goodie, as I call this stuff, all this will fall off. So you have to kind of fry it, unless you got a big deep fryer, which I do have, but I'm not. That's too much oil. I don't keep oil in that big old fryer. Now I'll just let that sit there and cook for a while, because the degrees has gone down quite a bit. You've got to have that up pretty high to keep that. You want your potatoes to cook, and they're not even halfway done. So we can move that in together now. It's going to be, we'll just let it sit there. Go ahead and let that cook down. Let me get since that pan I do not have a big enough lid, I'll use one of these old cookie sheets, and I'll just set it on. I'll tell you what I use a lot of times. I buy these coffee filters. You realize these are only a penny for 10 or 20 or something compared to a paper towel or napkins. So I just put them in my bowls, the coffee filters, because they're a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper. They're thinner. I'll take another one. And I'll dip it out like that. Now you can take your salt shaker and go ahead and salt them, which I set it on that bottom layer, but I will. Vegetables fried, and we got our coleslaw done, and then I'll go back and finish the roast on the other video. I wish y'all was here to eat with us. We're gonna have our good meal tonight, and we're blessed for any amount of food. We're blessed to live in the United States of America. Good night.